I gotta say, if there's any one film from 2019 that I just cannot stop thinking about since I saw it, it would be The Lighthouse. I reviewed this movie back when it came out, and if you want to hear my initial thoughts, you can click right here or in the link below. But to sum it up, The Lighthouse transfixed me with its dazzling cinematography, its world-class acting, an overwhelming sense of doom, and a story that goes deeper than just the surface. It's my personal favorite movie of 2019, and I even had this to say about it.
And if the Oscars don't nominate this for all of the Oscars, they are dumb, and they're just doing it wrong and they're out of touch.
The Lighthouse is a movie that I would recommend to literally anyone regardless of their taste. In my initial review, I said that it's this generation's The Shining, but since then, the internet has seemingly called it this generation's 2001 A Space Odyssey. Although I was surprised by that initially, the parallels are obvious. The commentary about life and how we change as we get older, an interpretive narrative, and a mysterious object whose meaning is unknown. In this video, I'm going to be going over the biggest theories and interpretations that I've personally seen about The Lighthouse. Firstly, I want to get two important things out of the way. Thing number one, this video is going to be chock full of spoilers.
Bruce Willis is a ghost.
I'm spoiling pretty much every aspect of The Lighthouse, so if you haven't seen it yet, please go watch the movie and then come back here, unless you don't care about spoilers. In any case, you have been warned. Thing number two, since our two characters change their names several times throughout the movie, for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to be calling them by their actors, so Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. We good? Good. Theory number one, the island is Purgatory. Alright, to start off is my favorite theory. This is the one that I'm personally subscribed to. In this interpretation of the movie, the island is Purgatory, and each of the two characters represent a different aspect of one person's mind before they die. So for starters, each character's name is Tom. So based on this theory, the dying person's name is Tom. Robert Pattinson represents a younger, more naive aspect of Tom's personality. He's wrecked with guilt, emotional, and irrational. Willem Dafoe represents the older version of Tom, who's more at peace with his life. In order for Tom to ascend into heaven, the two sides of his personality must come together and achieve salvation together. Let's start off with Pattinson's character. He's an introvert. He's also incredibly guilty with the fact that he murdered Winslow, a coworker of his, while he was working as a timberman. Now, throughout the film, Pattinson claims that he watched Winslow die in a tragic timber accident. However, this is a lie.
We saw the jam coming, and I stood, and he slipped. He shouted up, and I just stood there. Tom, you dog. I just stood there, is all. Just stood.
We can tell it's a lie for a few reasons. Firstly, he's experiencing way more guilt than any innocent person should. Towards the beginning of the film, he has a vision of Winslow's dead body in the ocean. He's so filled with guilt that he can't even masturbate without seeing Winslow's face. Secondly, when Pattinson is about to kill Willem Dafoe, he sees the face of Winslow. However, the smoking gun in this situation is the cigarette. When Pattinson first spills his beans to Dafoe, he claims that as soon as he saw Winslow die, all he wanted to do was light a cigarette.
All I could think when he was done was, I could use me a smoke.
However, once he kills Dafoe, he lights a cigarette, indicating that he lights a cigarette after he kills people. So he really did take this job when he was on the run. Now let's get into Dafoe's character. Dafoe plays an older version of Tom. This version of Tom is way more extroverted and drunk than Pattinson's younger version. This can be for a few reasons. Firstly, it could be because Tom is neither an extrovert or an introvert. Tom could be somewhere in the middle, as most people are, and in social settings he could feel confused as to which side he belongs on. One side of him could feel like he wants to interact with people, and the other side of him could feel like he wants to be alone. Or this could be Tom as he gets older, slowly becoming more extroverted. Defoe does claim that he is divorced, so it could be because of Tom's lonely lifestyle and lack of any true loved ones, he's become more extroverted later on in life. Defoe's version of Tom has an ego, and he feels entitled and territorial. This brings us to the character trait that both characters share. They both feel like they need to be in control. We'll talk more about that later. So, in this theory, what is the light? Well, the light is salvation. Defoe explains at one of their dinners towards the beginning of the film that his previous lighthouse keeper went mad and thought that the light was salvation.
He believed that there was some enchantment in the light. Salvation, said he.
Defoe's older version of Tom has acquired salvation in his old age, being at peace with himself for the sins he's committed in his life. However, Pattinson's younger version still hasn't found it yet. In order for Tom to achieve salvation, both aspects of his personality must come together and achieve salvation together. Given how much internal conflict Tom has, that's going to be a difficult task.
I scrubbed this here place twice over.
And I say you did nothing of the sort. And I say you swab it again, and you swab it proper like this time, and you'll be swabbing it 10 times more after that.
In this theory, every insult that the two characters hurl at each other is a reflection of some kind of insecurity that Tom has about himself. For example,
I'm sick of your smell. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, you goddamn drunk, you goddamn no account, son of a bitch, bastard liar. That's what you are. You're a goddamn drunken, horse-shitting, short shit liar.
this signifies that Tom is insecure about how later in life he fell into a state of alcoholism. Another example being,
a bitch what wants to be coveted for nothing but being born, crying about the silver spoon what should have been yours.
this reflects that later in life, Tom has looked back at his younger self and believed that he was once an entitled little shit who needs to learn to earn his keep and not inherit it. This explains why the older version of Tom is so possessive over the lighthouse. It's the only thing he achieved on his own. He wants to hold on to something he earned rather than complain about what he wasn't given, like he did when he was younger. This is why Defoe doesn't let Patterson go into the light. Pattinson must first earn it. I can keep going, but you can psychoanalyze Tom with every insult you see on repeat viewings. It's actually kind of fun. Maybe I'm sadistic for thinking it's fun, but I think it's pretty fun. As the two characters butt heads further, Tom's mind, as well as the physical building around them, collapses and deteriorates. So now we get to see Pattinson killing Defoe. Is this one side of Tom's personality destroying the other? Well, no. This is the moment where both sides of Tom's personality are finally at peace with one another and become one. Although there is no physical transformation to indicate this, there is a way to prove it. So let's rewind to the first dinner together. We can see Defoe say this prayer.
Should pale death with treble dread make the ocean caves our bed, God, who hears the surges roll, deign to save our suppliant soul. To 4 weeks.
Later on, Pattinson tries to repeat the prayer, but he cannot finish it.
Should pale death and treble dread.
Then, after Pattinson kills Defoe, he's able to finish the prayer.
Pale death and treble dread. Make the ocean caves our bed. God who hears the surges roll, deign to save a suppliant soul.
This is proof that the two become one in this moment. Now, Tom walks up towards the light and finally achieves salvation. By falling and dying, this is Tom passing from purgatory. One could say that he goes into heaven after this, or you can say that him falling down the stairs is him saying that he's lost salvation and he got rejected by heaven as a murderer and is now sent down to hell for eternity. Whichever you choose to believe, it's up to you. Theory number 2. It's a retelling of the story of Prometheus. In this theory, the lighthouse is an 1890s version of an old Greek myth surrounding Prometheus and Proteus. Now, I know jack shit about Greek mythology, so I might get a few details or name pronunciations wrong. If I do, please don't hate me. I didn't read Percy Jackson in middle school, okay? Anyways, stop me when this sounds familiar. Proteus was one of the first old men at sea. He was a keeper of knowledge and had a good relationship with sea creatures. He knew everything about everything, but refused to share this information with anyone. He was a grouchy old man. Prometheus was very different. Prometheus was known for stealing fire from gods and creating intelligent life. Because he stole fire from the gods, Zeus sentenced him to be chained to a rock where an eagle would swing by every day to peck out his internal organs. Does this sound familiar? Theory 3. Both characters are gay. In this theory, both characters are gay and they choose to be wikis because it isolates them from a mass public of homophobic people. Supporting evidence for this is there's a lot of homoerotic visuals, they're very touchy-feely with each other, and they even almost kiss once. And I mean, look at the house that they're in. It's shaped like a penis. I could keep reading every comment about the lighthouse on Reddit, but I think I'm gonna stop right here. Honestly, to get to these good theories, I needed to wade through a lot of theories that were nonsensical and stupid.
I like a Marxist reading of it, honestly. The story is one of class stratification. Ephraim does all the work, but is denied the light by Wake, who takes it all for himself. Indeed, Ephraim's labor is what specifically allows Wake to bathe in the
Please let me know about your own personal theory about the lighthouse. I could honestly see 100 different people seeing this movie and getting 100 different interpretations. It's my favorite movie of last year, so I'd love to hear your own interpretations about it and your own theories, whether you liked the movie, whether you disliked it. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram because I really appreciate it. I'm almost at 200 subscribers, so do it. Goodbye.